you want to talk about something that can irritate you? This is on immigration. Okay, we're now at the 6 month part of this fiscal year. Okay, so we're at the end of April. Let's see, October. No, so end of March is the 6 month, halfway through the fiscal year. We have now had in the 6 months over 1 million, according to the Department of the Border Patrol, over 1 million illegal aliens coming through our borders. In 6 months, they've had 1 million encounters. That means that's their encounters. Those aren't people who snuck through without being an encounter. Those are people who have had to be processed and then put on buses and sent to the interior of this country. 1 million. Very few of those people get sent back home under the Biden administration. They're ignoring the Remain in Mexico policy. And as a result, we are being flooded with illegal immigrants. We don't see those stories anymore because it isn't in the interests of the left and the media that they control to show those stories. We don't have AOC heading to the border and crying at an empty parking lot through a chain link fence in a faux media spectacle, because AOC doesn't want to pay any attention to what's going on at the border. The reality is what's going on at the border is it is absolutely a sieve with 1 million encounters, with hundreds of thousands, well over hundreds of thousands, multiple hundreds of thousands of people who aren't an encounter, who just come through. And I'll tell you the secret: the people who are getting through who aren't encounters are the bad guys. The cartels know. You put a family, you put a young mother and a young child in a position of jeopardy, and the Border Patrol will deploy to save that family on the Rio Grande River. That will happen every time. They will save those people's lives. They'll get vilified for it, but they'll save those people's lives. But while they're deploying to save the family that's been let loose to die by the cartel, while they're doing that, the cartel's running people through the gaps that have been created in our border system because the Border Patrols had to deploy. And they're running the worst of the worst through those gaps. And that, my friends, is immigration. And every time you hear, and this is not just in general, okay? Nothing bothered me more, nothing got me more angry than when I'd hear this administration or other defenders of this administration talk about, we have to protect the territorial integrity of Ukraine. Russia should not have attacked. Russia violated that. They're in the midst of talks. Hopefully that all ends and no more people die in that conflict. Okay, let's just be clear. Russia, bad, wrong. But when Kamala Harris, vice president, says we have to defend the territorial integrity of Ukraine, and they're not willing to defend the territorial integrity of the United States, something's drastically wrong. And the numbers are in, and folks, we have an invasion going on. And the last numbers I looked at showed that this was not just a Central America problem. It wasn't a Mexico problem. We had people who were having encounters from over 50 different nations around the world. Because if you want to get into America, if you want the golden ticket, get to our border, our southern border. And chances are you win. And if you have to pay the cartels $7,500 to get there per person, you know who else wins? The cartels, who are human traffickers. Nothing more, nothing less. They're human traffickers. And guess what? You get across that border, you're illegal. You know who knows where you are? The very human traffickers who brought you across. Because they have money exchanges where they say, you want to send your money back home? You have to send it through us. And so they get a piece of every dollar that goes back home. The cartels make more money on human trafficking than they do on drugs. So let's not be naive about this. Human trafficking is a huge business, and America is the destination of choice for those engaged in human trafficking. And folks, when we sit there and say, okay, it's not our problem, we're going to sit there and, it creates cheap labor, blah, blah, blah. Those people who say that, you are no different than somebody who justified using human trafficking to bring people across the ocean to pick your cotton. The difference is that those people didn't come voluntarily. It's a huge difference. But the truth is, human trafficking is human trafficking. The abuses in human trafficking are so grotesque as to be almost unbelievable. Our border patrol is vilified. ICE is vilified. They deal with the left in various cities who literally try to hide criminals who are illegal aliens so they won't be deported, because the value system amongst the left who are in charge of many of our cities is that they would rather protect a criminal illegal alien than send that illegal alien back to where they came from. They would rather have that illegal alien not be in jail and busy engaging in rape, mayhem, robbery, and murder than they would to have that illegal alien sent back to where they came from and not be part of our society, because protecting an illegal alien's ability to be here is a higher value than protecting the people they have sworn to serve and protect. Once again, hard truth, but it is the truth. So when we sit there and we talk about the budget, when we talk about this upcoming, we have another set of appropriations bills in September. We'll have, throughout this whole next 6 months, we're going to talk about appropriations bills. Start demanding that your congressmen, your senators do something about it. Start demanding they do something about it. You care about immigration? Tell your senators that stand up and fight. Do not allow another appropriations bill to be passed that does not secure the border. Don't allow it. The Republicans have the power to do that. And they'll talk a great game, but they don't. But unless they're willing to fight for that talk, you can't. If they're not willing to fight for it when they need your vote to get the majority, don't expect them to fight for it when they have the majority.